start.
Welcome in Commands family to the Command Center Rookie Mini Camp Special. Brian Colbert Jr. here with Santana Moss, Fred Smoot, Logan Paulson. We got the boys here, and we are out in Ashburn in the bubble, and it feels as if the entire media of the DMV is out here watching Jayden Daniels, our new quarterback. You see him rocking the number 5. Tanner, you said it when you saw him. You said the boy looked good and he looked comfortable, man. How cool is it to see Jayden Daniels out here finally on this field?
I mean, it's great just to see these guys back in action. I mean, I feel like we just let the team on break a couple of weeks ago. So I'm glad I'm not playing in these days because it seems like football is just year-round. We don't get a chance to get a break. But I'm ecstatic like everybody else is ecstatic out here just to see the kid and rocking that 5. I mean, you know, we had the big deal.
We did.
The big ordeal last night about the 5 and the switch and everything, man. But hats off to Tressway, man. Stand-up guy, letting the young kid, you know, rock his number that he's used to.
And to Tanner's point, if you haven't seen it, go check out the Command Center YouTube page when you're done here and go see our interview with Tressway where he basically just gave his number 5 but also told us why he did it, man. A lot of emotion, very, very candid. It was a great episode. So, Fred, you had some suggestions for him on numbers and all that, but, man, how cool is it to see Tress so poised and just calm in that moment?
Man, you know, at the end of the day, I understand. We have emotional connections to our numbers. And like I said, sometimes it's I hate to say we superstitious, but we are. Like we are. Like I watched Santana wear the same sock 16 weeks in a row because he had 200-yard receiving. So I understand that attachments to the numbers, especially when you accomplish as much as he has. But like he said, I'm a team player. And if this is going to be our franchise quarterback, I want him to feel welcome. And if this is how I'm going to make him feel welcome, so be it. That says a lot about the man.
No, absolutely. I think it's great, you know, that he got the number. Obviously looks great in it. You know what I'm saying? It's just it is him. That's who he is. And I can't say enough good things about Tress. You know what I'm saying? Like you saw, it was really cool on that episode to see just how emotional he was, how attached he was, and all the kind of history tied up in that 5 for him. But hopefully he can start a new narrative around that 5, and can't wait to see what number he picks.
And Tress had mentioned when he got that number 5, it made him feel wanted. He got here and felt wanted. So let me ask you guys on the flip. Getting a number from a veteran like that, it gives it up like that. He's a Pro Bowl veteran, mind you. What does that mean for Jayden Daniels? Does that make him feel more wanted? Does that make him feel like, you know what, I'm the guy here?
Well, he's the guy anyway, regardless. But I think you know, as a player, he can walk away from there and say, you know what, these guys accept me. You know what I mean? It's hard sometimes to bring in some of these guys, you know, that have so many high hopes, that we have so many high hopes for, because a lot of the older guys don't really like it. They don't like it. They don't like the attention you're getting. They don't like the money you might be getting.
Because you haven't earned it.
That's the era that I'm from. But we understand what we're trying to do here with this organization. It all starts at that position. And what Tress said, he said best. If I want to make this guy who has so much going on in his head, first year, and this is what he's comfortable in, I want to be that guy to give him that opportunity to be comfortable and play some good football out here for us.
Personally, I know what Jayden is going through because I remember my rookie practice. I wore 23. Nobody ever seen me in 23. But then Dion said, no, here, I know you want this 21. And when he gave it to me, it made me feel like, not only do they want me on this team, the guy I look up to, my idol.
My OG,
So another OG just handed his number down to him. That says a lot, and I'm sure that was the biggest welcome sign he could have ever saw when it comes to being in Washington right now.
I don't know if I care about numbers that much. Like, I'm sure he's nervous about today. He's probably more nervous about today. Excited to see what he does out there on the field.
But it's nice that something like that can get handled, right? Because that is something that's looming, right? Everybody was waiting to see what number he would be rocking, so it was awesome to be able to break that news. Now, fellas, we're going to talk more about Jayden Daniels. We're going to talk about all of these rookies while we're here. But like I said, we're in the bubble. We're in rookie minicamp. Now, Logan, on Command Center, you'd mentioned how this is a little different. Not because it's just rookies out there, but it's a whole new regime. Explain that kind of how you did on Command Center.
We'll see. I mean, that's something I'm really excited to check out today. You know, everyone said this is going to be kind of more of an introductory thing. We got to see the script a little bit earlier. It looks like it's just going to be, hey, man, this is kind of how we practice. This is the standard of operation. Here's the most basic stuff we can give you. Kind of everybody feeling out their roles, feeling out their coaches. And also, I think it's going to be really interesting because there are some tryout guys here. And talk about people who need to be nervous, like not nervous about a number or something like that. These guys, this is their one opportunity to say, I deserve to be in the NFL. So those guys are always really compelling to watch out here. And then it's also good. You know, I went to the Combine, went to the Senior Bowl, got to see a lot of these guys in person, but some of these guys I haven't. So seeing how they're built up, seeing Jordan McGee walk by with the biceps out, I was like, man, it's good to see these guys kind of for the first time out here for sure.
And Tanner, you've been in a similar situation before where not only are you a rookie, but you're coming in with a new regime. What is that like for a player?
Well, it was, you know, I was kind of naive at that moment, you know, not knowing what to expect because, like I said, it wasn't until years later that I realized that my offensive coordinator hadn't been here before. My head coach, I knew my head coach, it was his first time even being a head coach.
Yeah.
With these guys, it's a little different. And at that time, back in 01, you know, not only did my first minicamp had a new regime, but we had all the veterans out there with us.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a chance to really say, okay, it's me amongst the guys that I got drafted with or the guys who are trying to make the squad. It was all the other guys that's probably going to be sitting there and saying that, let us see who this first-round draft pick is. So that's one of the things that I had to go through, and it's great to see that they don't have to start that way, but I'm pretty sure in a couple of days they'll see those guys as well.
I was going to say that's such a blessing, right? Because like when I came in, we had 3 practices on the same day. One was just rookies, one was with the veterans, and then we had another practice with the veterans. So you couldn't even breathe. You're like, what do I need to know? Who are you? What's your name? What's going on? So it's so nice just to be like, hey, here's my one-on-one time with the coach. Here's me meeting Dan. Like, this is just such a much more conducive setup to let those guys feel good and play good.
One of the things I felt good too, you know, about my minicamp, I think a lot of these guys are, you know, like you said, Dan said he's going to make sure these guys get familiar with how we do things. Not so much of just saying, I want to see how they run in and out of the huddle. He want to basically show them how they need to do it. When I was coming into that minicamp, I had the veterans that show me what I need to do. So I'm looking at these plays, I'm trying to learn the playbook, but I had a chance to sit back and just watch, you know what I'm saying? And I wasn't sitting back too long. I was probably in the third group, but I got a chance to watch Wayne Quebec go out. I got a chance to watch Lavernius Coles go out. So I'm one of those guys. I'm going to watch the guy that's doing it right. So a lot of these guys are right now in the minicamp. They're getting instructed. They're getting showed now. They're probably not going to be in too many things going fast or full speed, but when they do, I'm hoping that they'll be ready for it because unlike me, I had somebody to look after them, you know what I mean?
And everybody out here, right, they're competing for jobs regardless of what round you win. But Fred, you were a second-round pick. So when you're a higher pick, there's a different level of expectations. There's a different level of pressure. Can you give us in your own words what it was like when you stepped out on this field? Because you came in with some crazy veterans on this team.
Yeah, I did. And it was one of those things where, as a player, you want to belong. Like the first thing we want to do, especially as a rookie, we just finished our college season. We just been through the combine. We've been through the draft. So we've been through all these emotional ups and downs. And now reality sets in. The reality is this is my job now. And 53 players get to make this team. And as you see out here today, we got 40-plus players out here, and the veterans are not even here. So at the end of the day, it shows you that number crunch and shows you how hard it is to make a team in the NFL, but it's all about mindset right now. Like if your mindset is not right and understanding that this is a job, no time for play, you could come up short.
And it is all about mindset. So Logan, I'm going to have you get our audience's minds right and kind of tell them what is going on here today. This is day one. Give us what you could expect to see, what we might see later. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I think, they probably started the day off with a walkthrough. That's what we were setting up here. That's what they were doing, kind of laying the foundation for the practice today, right? They don't want anything to be fresh the first time you see it. They're probably in the meeting room. You guys remember that, right? Meeting room, let's talk about it, let's watch it, let's walk through it, then let's come out to the field. So right now they're going to warm up. They're going to do some individual, probably some routes on air. Again, hitting those routes one more time. We want Jayden Daniels to look good on his first day, and then we'll do 7-on-7. That's probably going to be the only semi-competitive period for the day, but that's what I think you can expect. Really low-key, a lot of learning, but we want people to feel comfortable for that 7-on-7 period later in practice.
And Logan, you mentioned those walkthroughs. Me and you had talked about it because you see what they're going very, very slow, but one thing Jayden was doing was he was not throwing the ball. He would point to where he was going to go and walk through it very, very slowly. Some people were wondering, like, why is he doing that? Why is he not throwing yet? Logan, explain why that was happening.
So, every quarterback's got a different process, right? Like I played with guys, they had to throw it and walk through. Some guys didn't want to throw it. They hadn't warmed up their arm effectively yet. They said, I'm not ready to throw. I want to make sure I'm ready for practice. But what he's doing, he's going through the progression, going through the reads. He's indicating to the coach with the point where I believe the ball should go versus the coverage. They're not walking through on air. They're walking through versus a scout team coverage. So just saying, Coach, I'm on it. I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm not going to throw right now because my shoulder's not right. But I think that's a great thing to see from the young guy, Fred, saying, hey, I'm on it. I'm dotting my I's, crossing my T's.
And you know what? It's probably from all the virtual reality.
Sure.
It's from getting those reps that ain't putting the stress on the arm. The thing about it is we see it with pitchers all the time. We end up getting Tommy John for overuse.
Overuse
of that. So I think what he's doing now, he's playing the mental game. He's understanding what, why, and when.
Dude, I love that.
That's awesome, man.
I love that.
So if you guys are watching right now, the guys just broke it down, and in the middle of that huddle was no other than our new quarterback, Jayden Daniels. So you can just see the energy. You can look around us. You can't really see the media roll right here of all these people, but you can feel a different energy in here.
So when I was with Dan in Atlanta, this is something they did every day in practice. Bring the juice. Turn the music up. Let's get juiced up. Let's get some feeling on people. And see this drill they're doing right now? It's this footwork drill. It doesn't really do anything, but we're raising pulses, Fred.
Hey, first of all, My blood is running right now. Like, I'm telling you, man, the energy is in the room right now. I think I still got 3 or more plays in it. Like, what I'm saying.
Did you do this ladder? Did you do this ladder
right here? Like, well, this is football. This is what it's about. Football season is officially back. You gotta love that.
And Fred really is excited because while we were all prepared, Fred is in the corner, just on the sideline, just moving, just watching like, yeah, I can cover him. Yeah, I can cover him. And that's what we're so excited about, what Commanders fans are so excited about. This excitement, this energy. Dan Quinn brings this energy. Tanner, you're a very chill, relaxed guy, but you gotta love this type of energy. What does that do for you as a player?
That just caught me off guard. I was like, oh, okay. This is how they coming, right? But no, you like to see it. And then now watch them play. You watch the Cowboys play in the years that he was there. You watch those Seattle teams that was coached by him defensively. You understand why they go out there and fly around the field because he get them started throughout the week, throughout practice. You know what I mean? It's not something that they just do come game day. You have to practice. You have to prepare. You have to make sure that's your way of living. That's your way of playing this game, and he's showing them right now. So this is the day one introduction to all the rookies that this is how we're going to prepare every time we come out here. This is how we're going to practice, and it was great. It caught me off guard.
And honestly, what was really cool, like again, Jayden was in the middle of that. Yeah. How important is it for him to come out here now? I mean, the veterans aren't here yet. Yeah. How important is it for him to come out now and establish himself as a leader on this team?
Oh, it's very important. Like, you got to understand, everything starts and ends with the quarterback. And if you got a quarterback that's one of the guys, if you got a quarterback that say, I'm going to do everything y'all do, I don't care how it goes. If you got a quarterback that's not really a politician and standing out in front of the team, but somebody that's standing with the team, that's a whole different feel right there. And like I said, I love that intensity now. I'm sweating right now, and it's not because it's hot. My blood boiling right now. My blood boiling.
But also, that's something we saw in the interview process, right? Like, every time you talk to him, you see that kind of, it's a quiet leader, but a guy that's very comfortable in that leadership role. And so I think it's just kind of establishing that with the new crowd, but that's something that's in him. You know what I'm saying? I think that's always cool to see, and you know, like, it's nice that the staff is empowering him to do that here.
And Logan, tell us what's going on right now. They split up. They're on their position groups. Tell us what's going on right now, not only with the players, but what are these coaches looking at right now?
So right now we're doing special teams period, right? So we got kind of the special teams protection with the kind of the bigger body guys. They call them the mids, right? You got your linebackers, tight ends, maybe some safeties in there. We're talking about punt protection, right? Over here on the far side, we got rushes. We got all the DBs, kind of the guys that are a little undersized. Actually, we're working releases. I'm sorry. We got, like, Imagine Tanner. We got double vice. Remember that double vice? They're out there doing that. And we got the quarterbacks working routes on air. So I think all those elements are just kind of ways for the guys to continue to get warmed up. And, you know, like, no one wants to go do offense right away because you're too up. So this is a nice way to kind of slowly integrate people into the tempo of practice and make sure that they're getting run around a little bit, but we're kind of getting that energy in a controlled environment that's not super technical, if that makes sense.
Do you think we are seeing everything we would normally see if all of this wasn't here, if all these cameras were here, or do you keep some things close to the vest and say, you know what, we're going to keep it light for these guys, especially on day one?
Well, I think this is really interesting because I do think that this phase is something you're going to see all the time. Right? Special teams is super important. And this is just a really nice way for an evaluator just to kind of see how you move. Like what kind of athlete you are, right? How do you cover a kick? How do you block? And so this is always going to be in there. I think when we get into the offensive and defensive specific stuff, right, Tana? Like they're not going to show, they're not going to reveal their hand there, right? They're going to play that close to the vest.
You know, one of the things I'm looking at too, because, you know, just talking about it, that mini camp, that first initial practice, a lot of these guys, this should be like riding a bike. You know what I mean? This stuff you should be familiar with, but at the same time, this coaching staff making sure I'm not coming out here and forcing them to do anything that they're not familiar with. You know what I mean? So I'm watching some of the drills that this is like what we did in college, what we did in high school. It's no different from what they experienced before. It's just this way of doing it now that you're on a new team.
And let's be honest, the way most of these guys that's here today going to make this team is special teams. That's why you start this off with special teams. So at the end of the day, everybody always like to talk offense and defense, but the third phase is special teams. And if you're lacking in special teams, you're probably not going to be able to compete in this league.
And I also think it's interesting that we make assumptions because when we played, everyone ran a pro-style punt, everyone ran a pro-style kickoff coverage. You got to get those guys used to this footwork. This is a novel footwork for them in some cases because they all play spread punts now in college because of the college punting rules. So getting them familiar with that and just saying this is the standard, this is our expectation.
And these guys haven't played special teams. They were the star of their college team.
The point.
So there go the thing about it is they need to see where can I put these guys at and where can I help them flourish at.
You know, one of the things I want to add to it too, because it depends on where you come from. Because I had someone laughing the other day. I told him, you know, I was a gunner on the punt team in college all 4 years. I'm starting receiver, starting punt returner, but when we play big games, Tanner, you playing gunner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a lot of these guys, it depends on what school you come from, but I also know the day and time is a lot different for some of these stars that's coming out of college. Probably get a little more pacified than we did.
Yeah.
But when we came in, we was ready for these kind of opportunities. A lot of these guys is going to be their first time getting a chance to go out there and do some of these things.
And Fred, let me ask you, man, you are no lack of confidence, right? You are no lack of ego, right? So, honestly, did you come in here saying, you know what, I am willing to play special teams, even as a second-round pick?
I already knew I was going to play special teams. I was looking forward to play special teams. I always had to block the gunners. That's a cornerback thing.
Yeah.
So we're responsible for the punt returner. So you got to have a great relationship with the punt returner because I'm protecting him. Kickoff team, you got to be ready to play that. I came in with Marty Schottenheimer. He comes in and tell you, pick 3 special teams. He lets you pick your 3 special teams. So I understood with a 53-man roster, all of us organically have to play special teams. That's just the way it is.
And I think when you look at this, like Mike Saterstill's out there, Vincent Knott's out there, right? Those guys understand that, even though I am probably going to contribute to the offense or defense my first year, I also have to contribute on teams and show I can do that stuff. So I don't think it's a coincidence that they're all doing these drills together.
And we're talking about all these new things. Special teams is going to be a lot different this year in the NFL. There are new kickoff rules. How do you feel that affects preparation here? Because not only is this new for the rookies, this is new for the entire coaching staff.
It's so funny because the way that we practice kickoff is the way that they're going to do it in the game. Like when we practice kickoff, we usually line everybody up at the 40. The kicker kicks the ball, we catch the ball, then we start to run. So actually, them doing it and incorporating, I'm sure the NFL said this is the way they practice it anyway. I don't think that'll be anything that'll set any team back.
And I don't want to bury the lead. We talked about Jayden to start the show. We stopped a little bit, but let's get back on our new quarterback, number 5, Jayden Daniels, out there throwing. And, man, it looks good to see him out there. Logan, see him talking with Cliff Kingsbury, very, very active with Cliff Kingsbury right now. How important is him and his offensive coordinator being on the same page?
Well, I think it's good because it just sets an expectation. Like right now they're working kind of that quick snap, throw, working that release. I think you see all the things in college that made him so successful, right? The tight footwork, the bullet, that from ear to hand release is so excellent. And you see Cliff kind of coaching through concept. Hey, man, this is what we're thinking on RPO. This is how we want you to play this. This is how we want the ball to come out. They're thrown to the net. You see the tight accuracy. So I just think it's again, today is a foundational piece. It's a foundational piece saying these are my expectations for the offense. Even though it's the simplest stuff, we're going to make sure we're on the same page. And I love the juice right now.
I was going to say, that release is serious.
I love
that ball jumping out his hand, you know what I mean? So I'm
going to tell you what I love. I love the fact that Cliff Kingsbury played quarterback. It's something about when your coach played your position. He has an inside view, and I'm seeing Cliff over there throwing imaginary passes because it's in his blood. That's what you like to see, because now as a player I can trust everything, not just some things that come out your mouth, everything that comes out your mouth, because you truly know my plight as a quarterback.
And sometimes you see guys and they just got it, right? And you look at Jayden Daniels, the body movement, the body language, he's dancing, he's having a good time, he is confident right now, and I think a lot of that has to do with Cliff Kingsbury. Now, Cliff Kingsbury, we said we got to get him a quarterback. He likes his certain type of quarterbacks. How does Jayden fit this type of system that Cliff Kingsbury likes to run, Logan?
Well, I think it's perfect. I think when you look, again, I think Cliff's going to adjust the system, obviously. But when you look at Kyler Murray in his rookie year, it's a lot of quarterback design run from the gun, a lot of vertical-based passing attack. And who was the most efficient deep ball thrower in college football?
And he was the rookie of the year.
And I'm saying Jayden was the most efficient deep ball thrower in college football last year. Let's bring that element to this offense. I think another thing you see, just even from the warm-up, seeing it live and in living color, the release, man. That's great for RPOs. That's great for quick game. That's great for bubble screens. That's great for kind of some of the kind of low-hanging fruit of that Cliff Kingsbury offense, especially the stuff you see in 2021. So, I think it's the more you see them, the more you see them talking, interacting together, gets me really juiced that this is the right kind of opportunity.
And you mentioned the RPO. We have Brian Robinson. We brought in Austin Eckler. How dominant and effective do you think that would be with Jayden Daniels, a guy that amassed over 30 touchdowns rushing last season?
Well, RPOs, it tests the discipline of the defense. RPOs make sure that defensive end, that outside linebacker, the edge rusher has his eyes in the right places. And I think what B-Rob showed us last year is, I'm a good running back and I'm a great pass protector, but I am a good wide receiver also. And I think that's going to bring a lot to it. And RPOs and stuff like that and quick screens, they actually are extensions of the run game. Everybody think they are a part of the passing game. They are small extensions of the run game, and that will keep a young quarterback out of trouble.
And you mentioned Austin Eckler. We have him on Free Agency Fridays. That will be dropping tonight. He mentioned how excited he was to pair up with B-Rob. And one thing you've seen with Free Agency and the way we did this rookie class, and we talked about it a little bit, is you got these young guys, but you got a bunch of veterans in here as well. Tana, man, how important is that veteran presence for these guys? Yes, the veterans are out here right now, but you got to imagine these guys are reaching out not only to the veterans, but to OGs like Fred Smoot, Santana Moss, and Logan Paulson.
I think it's going to be everything. I think one of the things that I've learned, you know, and the reason why my learning curve was not as long as some of these guys, because that's who you're going to lean on. You know what I mean? I came in, I didn't know what to expect, you know, and I was a first-round draft pick. Trust me, man, I'm going to treat everybody like everybody treats me. And so I was looking to be treated bad because, you know, from college,
you heard
college going into the league, guys tell you all the crap that they went through. So I'm like, man, I'm the first-round pick. I know they finna give me hell. But I got there, and Wayne Quebec took me on this wing. Lavernius Coles gave me a seat. You know, I'm like, oh, man, these guys treat me, you know, with luxury and with class. But they also showed me on the field how we going to practice. You know, Wayne told me to slow down because every rep I did was, you know, Sonic.
You have to learn how to practice as a pro, right?
I was trying to haul ass every rep. And he's like, look, bro, Tanner, we know you fast. Take it, you know, take it a notch down.
Why was that? Why did he tell you that?
Well, he basically was trying to show me because playing receiver, it's not all about speed all the time. Sometimes you have to gather yourself, gather information. You know, every route is not going to be against man. Every route is not going to be against, you know, one-on-one. So if you're in a zone, I can't run that curl as fast as I ran it with the man coverage. You know what I mean? So he was basically telling me then, like, you're going to have to slow down so you can be able to see what's going on because pre-snap read might tell you one thing, but when they hike the ball, then it might be a whole different coverage out there.
And it's not just Jayden Daniels that people are excited about. We got a lot of other dogs throughout the draft. Johnny Newton. A lot of people thought he'd be a first-round guy. I think we were all surprised. He fell to us. He'll be rocking the number 95. This was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Logan, what are we getting with this monster on this defensive line?
I mean, I think you get a guy who understands how to use his hands at a high level. I think he understands kind of some of the nuanced elements of pass rush, kind of how to work those shoulder pads, get offensive linemen turn. Love that. And I love the energy that he plays with. He played like over 700 snaps last year, which for a defensive tackle is a ton of snaps. So I'm hoping that as he gets a truncated workload, we get that effort from him all the time. Get that dynamic athlete all the time. He's a great leader. He's very fastidious. He studies. He blocked 4 kicks in college. Like, he is an absolute dog. It's just about how they utilize him in this system and how they develop him, I think.
Well, I'm going to say, first of all, he was the best defensive tackle in college football. All right, and he brought up the 4 block kicks, and his first step is crazy. And people need to respect, this guy played with a broken foot last year.
Yes, he did.
And he destroyed people. So that tells me his toughness and his willingness to sacrifice, that's going to be perfect for this new regime.
And Fred, to your point, not only was he suffering with an injury, he's coming off of surgery. And he's out here now getting it done. So that shows the dog. No excuses at all. Now, Tanner, we were kind of surprised when we saw that pick because we know that there is depth on that defensive line. We know we got a Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen. How do you see him fitting amongst them?
I think it fit in well. I think one of the things that you know is about our defense from over the years that these guys was coming out, you know, not playing every down. It's going to be special downs. And then when you think about what this defense that we're going to be playing here now, they've showed you in other places that they're going to find a way to play you in your best spot. Pick a time on the field when we say, okay, let's let that dog go hunt. And I think when you have a guy like Johnny Newton, who you know that he was so efficient when it came to getting after the quarterback, I don't have to see him every down. Third down, I'm tee off. Go out there and pin your ears back and go out there and get after the guy. So knowing he's coming off an injury, he don't have to be rushed out there. He's going to have time to watch those guys in front of him. But when he's ready to go and we need him, trust me, he's going to be out there ready.
And you talk about guys that are ready to play. Talk about having the best defensive tackle. Well, some people think we got the best defensive back right after that at Mike Sanderson. Fred, you were very excited about this. Now, very different than your type of build, right? Because he's a shorter guy. However, he plays a lot bigger on that field. Talk about him.
First of all, he's a wide receiver-minded cornerback. And you got 2 type of cornerbacks. You got cornerbacks that used to play running back, a la Sean Springs. And you got guys that used to play wide receiver, a la Deion Sanders, Champ Bailey. He's the wide receiver variety. So that tells me he's taking that mind and he's playing it on defense, and he's versatile. He's a guy that can play nickel. I believe he can play outside, and he can play safety. He's one of those jack of all trades, and he's a guy that he picks up plays quickly. Like he's not a guy that you got to go over and over and over again to get him to learn a scheme. Smart guy, and people forget this. He's going to help on the return game, too. He's a punt returner, too. So, Mike Sanders, I thought pound for pound, he was the best defensive back in the draft. I know everybody like Quinn Mitchell. The more I watched this guy playing national championship ball the way he played it, I would have went with him.
Yeah, extremely instinctive. You know, the way he tracks the football, the way he diagnoses plays. Love the kind of quiet feet you always talk about that, Fred. The ball production's off the charts. Yeah. And, you know, like, again, that converted wide receiver. Like, he worked out as a receiver and as a DB at his pro day. Yeah. Like, the skill set is still so fresh in him, right? So he's a guy that has a tremendous ability and, again, the return ability, the professionalism, the captain. We're going to say that about all these guys. Yeah. But that makes this group extremely special.
High floor. You've lined up against defensive backs that have that wide receiver pedigree, that wide receiver background. How dangerous are those guys?
Well, I told you when during the draft, I played receiver and DB growing up, so I know what it did for me. You know, when I was a cornerback and then I switched over to play receiver full time, as being one of those guys that played both of them, I know what the guy's thinking on the other side. Yep. You know what I mean? I was that corner. I was that guy that's having to worry about, you know, three-step read, having to worry about, you know, did this guy breaking on the slant. All those things come in hand. And then I also knew as a receiver that you can't do certain things to those defensive backs. So him playing both positions, he's going to know that guys will try to set you up with their eyes, set you up with their alignment. They're going to do different, you know, they're going to give you different nuggets of how they lined up. Oh, he might be too high to be getting the ball right now. Yeah. He's wiping his hands a lot. Oh, he's getting the ball. Yeah. Certain tricks like that, the nuggets like that will give him, you know, those clues of what he should be doing to that guy and when to be overly aggressive and not.
So I'm just, right now, sorry, Tenny, you were talking. I got distracted. There's all this stuff going on. Yeah. I've just been so blown away by Jayden Daniels' footwork. Yeah. This is the first time I've seen him in person. Mm-hmm. His ability to run his feet, just comparing him to Hartman, who Hartman is a very experienced player. Yeah. 5-year starter, one of the most prolific passers in the ACC, very productive. It's like they're playing different sports. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like his ability to get that top step, get that ball out accurately on time, it makes me, you know, it kind of is one of those things, like, you're always worried, oh, man, he only threw goes, he only threw hitches. Yeah. But seeing the footwork like that, you're like, man, that projects to something nice. And the release, dude, it's tight. It's better than I thought. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's better than I thought after watching all that film, watching his pro day. So, I mean, talk about a guy that's like, again, there's not a lot of evaluation to take from this, but seeing it in live and in living color for the first time, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
And if it didn't look good, there may be more to evaluate. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it is good to point out.
Come on, these guys, this is not the finished product.
It is not.
These guys are just starting out, and they go. I like guys that can be coached up, and we got a great coaching staff.
Also, this is the first time I've seen Cliff coach. Yeah. He has got juice, man. He is bouncing around.
He doesn't walk around the building like that.
But I'm saying, like, he's doing his footwork, like Fred's saying. He's getting that ball out, like. And the energy he's getting from the quarterbacks is pretty impressive. So, again, seeing a guy coach for the first time, seeing a guy throw for the first time, pretty special.
I mean, a lot to be excited about, especially for Jayden Daniels. We went in through the draft and got him a tackle, a tight end, and a wide receiver. So let's talk about Ben. Senate?
Senate. I'm gonna say it correctly. Ben Senate, and he's wearing that 82, not looking like Logan Paulson out there.
I look way better. No, he looks awesome.
Definitely
he looks
bigger.
Amazing. He looks amazing.
Now, how excited are you, a guy like? Because Logan, this is your type of guy.
Yeah.
This is a guy that literally does everything, but his favorite thing to do is block and get nasty out there, man. How excited are you to see him play?
I'm really excited. You know, I think again, like the versatility he brings to the offense is the thing that makes him really special, right? Yeah. Played fullback, played in line, can line up as a wide receiver, can beat a linebacker one-on-one. And so just getting to see him move around out here is pretty special, right? And seeing David Rye, the new tight end coach for the first time, the drills he's using, what he's trying to get from the guys, how they're communicating. I just think about the advantage of getting those guys here today and getting them locked in with the coaches now. Because these are drills, hey, I don't have to coach this next week. We're coaching it now. Yeah. So you're out there with John Bates, you're out there with Zach Ertz, and we're all on the same page. Yeah. You're at my tempo. And so I think it's just going to help bring the young guy along so much. But to your point, Brian, I love him as a player. Yeah. And I just can't wait to see what Cliff does with that movable chess piece to maximize this offense.
Like Fred said, rocking the number 82. Now, Tanner, during the draft show, we talked about the need for a tight end in our room. How do you feel he fits in this tight end room, especially with a guy like Zach Ertz there to lead the way?
I think it's great. I think when you look at some of these offensive sets and schemes now, you have multiple tight ends in the game. You have 2 tight ends in the game. And then not only that, you know, when you have a guy like Senate, you know, he's not one of those guys that when you see him come in the game, you're like, he's just a catching guy. You know, he's a guy who's going to catch. No, he's a guy that can block, he can catch, he can line up in, H, whatever. He can do so many other different things on your offense. So it's great to see that he has that many things in his toolbox, you know, because you want a guy that's going to be out there every down. You don't want to have to bring a guy in to sub him because he can't do one particular thing. So it's great to see that he has all that going for himself. And knowing that he has a leader and a veteran in front of him in Zach Ertz, you never know how far or how long it's going to take him to learn that stuff, man. Ertz might be looking behind him more than he looking in front of him. You know?
And Tanner, to your point, these guys that we're talking about and that we're seeing, versatility.
I'm going to say versatility is everything.
Quinn said it. He told us.
Everybody on here can play multiple positions. Everybody has multiple skill sets. Everybody understands multiple angles of this game. And I think that's what they wanted. They went for football players, and that's what I love about this draft. They didn't go into the draft and say, I'm looking for Mayor Kiper's top 100. They say, we're looking for the Commanders type players, our top 7, 8, 9 guys that we want, and that's what we have.
Also, I'm super nerdy. I'm sure you said something really good, Fred, but again, I got distracted.
You always distract.
They're out here. They're going to run routes on air, right? So even when we talk about Luke McCaffrey and run, every time that dude runs a route, it reminds me of his dad.
Snap down.
Yes.
It's
Easy Ed.
Snap down.
Everything's
and
a snap.
right now we're going to watch Ben Sinnott. We're going to watch Luke McCaffrey catch balls from Jayden Daniels. And, as a fan, what more could you possibly want?
Nothing.
I want to see this. I want to see how this looks, man.
What more could you want? And, I want to talk about Brandon Cohen, but however, since we're talking about McCaffrey, let's stay on him. Tana, me and you were talking about McCaffrey and about what it means when you draft a guy like this. You got him 6'2" body, fast. What do you think he does for this offense?
I mean, not only just talking about the 6'2", being fast, legacy.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about his dad, you think about his brother, you think about just what that brings to you. He's not here, and he's not here just for show, or for shits and giggles. Excuse my French. But no, I'm being real. He's a guy that has proven himself over time in college, and also have the pedigree when it comes to his family. To say, hey, this is a guy that I want to bring on my team because I understand what it takes to be one of these guys, the McCaffreys. You understand?
Yes.
I understand what his dad had to do to be himself. I understand what his brother is now doing, and now you get the younger brother. So I'm looking forward to seeing this guy go out there and try to top those guys.
And Tana, I'm gonna stick with you because you had a brother in the league as well, and I believe he came in after you. I'm sure you guys have had these conversations. Is there an added pressure? I know you casted a big shadow. Was there added pressure to your brother that you think that maybe Luke is feeling right now as well?
You know what? I would hate to say I had those conversations because I didn't. And me and my brother was so different to where you look at brothers, you might think we probably got together in the off season, we probably worked out. None of that.
No.
You know what I mean? Football was something that he was good at. But I was telling him he was good at it. I don't think that was necessarily his goal.
He loved what he loved.
He didn't love football. Like I loved it. You know what I mean? He actually got a chance to live out a dream that I had for him because he had the same kind of, I guess you can say,
skill set
or blood in him. You know what I mean? So I'm happy he got a chance to experience. He got a Super Bowl out of it. But I was more passionate. I had more love for it, and that's why we didn't have those conversations. You know what I mean? And I know it was something that he didn't deal with well because he hated being Santana's brother. So that's a lot of added stuff that went on with him when he hated being called Santana's brother. I would hear guys were like, he was like, well, I'm Soneros. I'm not Santana's brother. And I'm like, well, you kind of is my brother now. You are legally. But I'm sure there's a lot of pressure in that. But different stroke for different folks. I'm
it's so
I'm
funny
sure Luke's not
how
thinking
he
about
didn't love it and he ended up with the ring.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy how things work. So maybe Luke could get a ring before his brothers. That's what we are hoping to see. Now, Logan, man, you're locked in, bro. You're like a kid in this candy store right here. You've watched so much film on this kid, man. What are you seeing right now? How are you feeling? Is it translating from the tape to the field right now?
Yeah, I just love. it's just like the little things, right?
Yeah.
So they get up there. There was
the
little
minutia.
Miscommunication, right? Benson, like Luke can't hear. Benson taps his hip, gives a signal, right?
Yeah.
For the day one, for them to be on the same page with hand signals already.
Yeah.
Very, very impressive. And again, like with Luke McCaffrey, a lot of the stuff he does really well is not going to show up out here.
Yeah, he's not.
Because he's super physical. He's super competitive. Again, you see the route snap. You see the nuance. We saw that. We knew that. He's a guy that, for me, when he puts the pads on, I'm going to be juiced, right?
Yeah.
Because the physicality, the mindset that he plays with, the professionalism. We talked about his parents, his brother. Like, he knows what it means to be a pro. And I expect him, like, day one. Like, even when they were doing the skips at the beginning of practice, Coach did the demo. Yeah. Everyone's kind of, Luke McCaffrey looks exactly like the coach. That's how that dude's going to be from day one. So that's something that I think is really going to be fantastic about this young man and why floor's high, but I think the ceiling's just
I got to say this. Watching these two quarterbacks, and I got a lot of love for Sam Hartman, but watching that ball comes off Daniels' hands, that's different. They are two different balls. I'm sorry. I watched him throw that deep ball. I just watched him throw in the middle of the field right there. He has a laser for so now the question is, does he have that touch? All right, we'll see that when the pass come on.
And that's not a neck on Sam Hartman, right? That's more of a testament to Jayden Daniels. Because Sam Hartman, Wake Forest, Notre Dame, he is an elite quarterback.
He's a player.
But that shows shows the level of skill we're dealing with here when you're looking at Jayden Daniels. Now, before we get going, because we're wrapping up, man, I can't believe we've been on for dang near 40 minutes now.
Give us 40 more.
We can do this all day. So I want to talk about Brandon Coleman because that was outside of quarterback. I think tackle was the thing that we were most looking for us to address. Talk about versatility. Logan, Brandon Coleman, guard, tackle. He's played all over. In warm-ups earlier, he was lined up at left tackle. Granted, not everybody's out here, but, you know, that's kind of what fans are hoping to see. Logan, how do you feel he fits on this offensive line?
You know, it's funny. I've been trying to watch him, but the whole media wall is, like, right in the way. He's down in the corner. So I'm trying to, like, peek over. But, man, I think the thing about him that, like, you really can write home about, arm length, athlete, right? And if you have those tackle measurables, you can do it. Now, he's really new to football. We talked about before the show how he was in Germany for a little bit, didn't play high school football, went to a JUCO, the whole thing. So such limited experience, but a guy that is a ball of clay and a plus athlete. When you're a plus athlete, that's what you're looking for at left tackle. Now, it might not work out for him, but I think it gives you a ton of flexibility because he can play guard, both guard spots, maybe right tackle, but I get juiced because the athlete, and I think when you watch him on film, for a guy who hasn't played a ton of football, really super instinctive, which is exciting.
Well, this is what I like. At the end of the day, I want to take him to Lifetime Fitness and shoot ball with him.
This one is a hooper.
He's a hooper. Like, any, you show me an offensive line that can hoop, and I'll show you one that can play tackle.
Yes.
I know for a fact, and you know, I'm not better than the coaches. But what's for not seen from him,
humble.
I think he can play tackle. No doubt he can play tackle, but I want to shoot some threes with him, see where he really at.
I mean, the number one thing that leads you to know that is he's an athlete. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And guys that big that can move around and do what he does, it's not going to have me sitting here questioning, you know, can he get out there? It's all about, you know, can he get caught up to speed with the guys
with
that
the
he's going
pros
against? You know what I mean? Because that's going to be the big challenge. Can you be ready for those big guys coming off that end with the speed and the versatility and all the other stuff that they have to bring with them?
And Fred, I don't know if you want no smoke on that basketball court. My man ran a 4.9 at 3.25. He posting you up right here with it.
He gonna put me on that hip? Yeah. He gonna put me on that hip? I'm fine with that. Logan already put me on his hip.
It's okay. You done gotten in better shape since then. Well, fellas, man, we have had a lot of fun out here at the Commanders rookie camp. We see the guys throwing, man. Logan, I'm hearing you do it the oohs and the ahs as you watch Luke McCaffrey track that ball down, track that deep ball down. And there's just so much excitement here, man. Do you guys remember a time that was like this, man?
I do. You know, the year they drafted Fred Smoot, man, it was just like this.
Pandemonium for Fred Smoot. I have no doubt about it.
Oh, my God.
Fred was too humble earlier, saying, I don't know more than the coaches. You know, Fred thinks he knows more than everybody. Now, you guys heard the buzzer. That means that we are wrapping it up for today. We hope you enjoyed it. We want to give you premier access like this as much as we can, and the fellas came in for an extra day to do just that. Remember, we have Command Center out right now. Go check it out, man. Tress Wade gave us a great interview. London Fletcher's on there. Austin Eckler's on there. There's a lot of great stuff. And honestly, until next week, until Thursday, Command Center, we out.
We out.
Yeah.